Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda Radhe. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladev, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Om. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parvrajika Acharya Aswata Sadashi Madhai Charanarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Grantaraj Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta ki. Itai Gaur Premanande. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru, Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna, we'd usually start with Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, but we did Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda. So reading from Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Ādi-līlā, chapter 4, entitled, anybody remember? Wow, it's almost like you had it on the phone. The controversial reasons. We are on text 17, and we'll continue until verse 20. So I'll read the first 3 myself, and then the 20th one, I think we all know that verse. It's a very famous verse, and we can say that one together. Aishwarya jnane te sabha jagat me shrita Aishwarya sthila preme nahi mora prita. Translation. All the universe is filled with conception of my majesty, but love weakened by that majesty, that sense of majesty, does not satisfy me. Text 18. Amara Ishvara mane apanake hina tara preme vasha ami nahai adhina. If one regards me as the Supreme Lord and himself as a subordinate, I do not become subservient to his love, nor can it control me. Text 19. Amaketaye bhakta bhajaye bhave tare se bhave bhaji e mora svabhave. Translation. In whatever transcendental mellow my devotee worships me, I reciprocate with him. That is my natural behavior. Purport. The Lord, by his inherent nature, reveals himself before his devotee according to their inherent devotional service. The Vrindavan pastimes demonstrated that although generally people worship God with reverence, the Lord is more pleased when a devotee thinks of himself as his pet son, personal friend, or most dear fiancé, and renders service unto him with such transcendental affection. The Lord becomes a subordinate object of love in such transcendental relationships. Such pure love of Godhead is unadulterated by any tinge of superfluous, non-devotional desires, and is not mixed with any sort of fruitive action or empiric philosophical speculation. It is pure and natural love of Godhead spontaneously aroused in the absolute stage. The devotional service is executed in a favorable atmosphere, freed from material affection. Text 20. Please repeat after me. Ye yata mam prapadyante tam sathaiva bhajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvasha. Ye yata mam prapadyante tam sathaiva bhajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvasha. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sathaiva bhajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante Manushya Partha Sarvasha. Please repeat. Ye yatamam prapadyante tam sateva bhajamyaham. Mamamartmanuvartante Manushya Partha Sarvasha. Ye yatamam prapadyante tam sateva bhajamyaham. Mamavartmanuvartante Manushya Partha Sarvasha. Evatamam prapadyante tam sateva bhajamyaham. Mamavartmanuvartante Manushya Partha Sarvasha. Ye yatamam prapadyante Atadaiva bhajamyaham. Mamavartmanuvartante Manusha Partha Sarvasha. Yes? Ye yatamam prapadyante tam sateva bhajamyaham. Mama vartmanuvartante Manusha. Ladies? Ye yatamam prapadyante tam sateva bhajamyaham. Mama vartmanuvartante Manusha. Ye, those who, yatha, as, mam, to me, prapadyante, surrender, tan, them, tatha, so, eva, certainly, bhajami, reward, aham, I, mama, my, vartma, path, anuvartante, follow, manushyaha, men, partha, O son of Pritha, sarvasha, in all respects. Translation. In whatever way my devotees surrender unto me, I reward him accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. Please repeat after me. In whatever way my devotees surrender unto me, I reward him accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. So, of course, this is one of the most famous verses from the Bhagavad Gita. If you haven't memorized it, memorize it and make it part of your life. Purport. In the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna affirms that formerly, some 120 million years before the battle of Kurukshetra, he explained the mystic philosophy of the Gita to the sun god. The message was received through the chain of disciplic succession, but in course of time, the chain being broken somehow or other, Lord Sri Krishna appeared again and taught Arjuna the truths of Bhagavad Gita. At that time, the Lord spoke this verse, Bhagavad Gita 4:11, to his friend Arjuna. So let's keep the TV up. I might have to read some things after that. So we'll say Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Caitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam tam sajivam sadvaitam savadutam parijana sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kantha Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpadrubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadhi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langaya degirim yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Guru Dinatarinam Param Ananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming to the Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta class. Before I begin, I would like to seek the blessings of all the senior devotees, and may the right words come in the right spirit, in the mood of our previous acharyas. And we read from the Caitanya-caritāmṛta today, and we're so fortunate to have access to such a literature. We were just reading with a friend a few days ago, Srila Prabhupada's diary across the Jalduta, and there's an excerpt from this. It says, Prabhupada writes, "Till 4 o'clock afternoon, we have crossed over the Atlantic Ocean for 24 hours. The whole day was clear and almost smooth. I am taking my food regularly and got some strength to struggle. There is slight lurching on the ship, and I am feeling slight headache also. But I am struggling, and the nectarine of life is Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, the source of all of my vitality." So Srila Prabhupada had such a great love for this literature, and it's such a gift that we're able to study it, at least as a group together once a week on the Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta class. And here we have this very important section of the Ādi-līlā chapter 4, which is the internal reasons why the Lord descends. As we learn from chapter 3, we understand the external reasons why he descends. And the internal, like we have the calling of Advaita Acharya to establish the Harinam Sankirtan movement. So now we are going into the internal reasons why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is appearing. And so we're referencing these amazing verses from Ādi-līlā chapter 4. And you can see that this, and it's referring to the different relationships one can have with the Lord. Specifically, what we're discussing, Lord Krishna is thinking, as we had the class last week of His Grace Archita Prabhu, and Archita Prabhu very nicely expounded this famous verse from Caitanya-caritāmṛta. Prem ras niryas korite ashwadam rag marg bhakti loke korite pracharan. This is the reason why, this is one of the main reasons why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes, and he's here to show this path of rag marg, which is spontaneous devotion. Now we're comparing, and in the verses that we have for this week, we're comparing it to what is the other other aspect, which is not Rag Marg, is Aishvarya Jnaneti Sabha Jagata Mishra. This Aishvarya Gyan, knowing Krishna as the Supreme. And then Krishna says that love is well, before that we can comment that this is one of the aspect of Caitanya-caritāmṛta that is a very unique aspect of our philosophy. This very unique aspect of our philosophy, that you can have an individual relationship with God. And it can be, and our philosophy is a radically personalist philosophy. It is very, and it is a very individual philosophy. So, like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says this, Mayavadya shunya hoile sarvanash. If you just hear this impersonalist philosophy, actually, all your progress in bhakti is taken away. Now, why is that? The Mayavadi philosophy can be quite intoxicating because I am God, so I'm the supreme controller, and me and you are the same. There's no difference between me and Giriraj Maharaj. Very famously, he was in Harvard Square, and then he asked, some guy was saying Mayavad philosophy, and there's no difference between me and you. He said, oh, there's no difference between you and me. So there's no difference between your wallet and mine, so give me your wallet. And then he actually gave him his wallet just to keep his philosophy intact. So this philosophy, more than being intoxicating and why you lose everything, it takes away all the issues of life. I give, when trying to explain the impersonalist philosophy to people, I say, why is it intoxicating? Because if me and Sandesh are there, and all the problems that I have with Sandesh is because I see dvayam. I see difference between me and Sandesh. He is Nepali, I am American. He is Indian, I am this. He is brown skin, I am white skin. And we see difference. So it's so nice if I can just take out all the differences between us and we can be the same, right? And it's an intoxicating, it's convincing almost, like, wow, all the problems in life. But we understand that what is the benefits of life? The benefits of life is that there is individuality, right? Sandesh likes chocolate ice cream. I like strawberry ice cream. And that's why we live. What if we all had to like vanilla? It's like, why? why do we have to do this? So this is the philosophy of Caitanya-caritāmṛta, is that we can have a unique relationship with God. Scientists nowadays have now, they've estimated, they can't prove this, but the weight of ants, ants, small ant, the weight of ants in this world is equivalent or even more than the weight of humans. Can you believe that? The weight of ants is equivalent or more, they estimate is more than the weight of humans. So like we have a very healthy looking devotee like Tulsi Prabhu. Can someone give me a rough estimate how many ants would take to get the same weight as Tulsi Prabhu? Throw out a number. 1 million? Millions. Give me a specific number. 7 million? 2 million? 7.7 million? Okay. We'll have to wait Tulsi Prabhu and see how much an ant weighs. So now imagine this. Imagine this. Each one of those ants is a jiva. And each one of those ants have a specific relationship with Krishna that nobody else could do. As we have had the good association of Arjunananda Prabhu, and we have his twin brother, Abhay, right? Almost, they're minutes apart. They look the same also. One's in orange, one's in white. It's like Krishna and Balaram, right? One's white and one's black. But one's orange, one's white. So they look the same. They have the same type of mannerisms. They have the same smile. They have this. But the amazing aspect of our philosophy is that Abhay has a specific relationship, has a specific service to Krishna that nobody else can perform. Nobody else can fill that hole. And Arjunananda Prabhu has a specific relationship with Krishna that nobody else can perform. So this is the individualism of our philosophy. And we can see that, and we see in Caitanya-caritāmṛta, there's all different types of devotees, you know? There's devotees who like to, like Haridas Thakur, just always chanting japa, you know? Firm faith in the holy name. Then there's Shivananda Sen, who was a manager, who was to organize, you know? And he used to organize different yatras, you know? If you want to go somewhere, even to go from here to there, you need an organizational party to go from here. Then you have different types, like Nityananda Prabhu, who used to just dance in kirtan. And so, like this, there's so many different types of devotees, even. So, last time I got the opportunity to serve the Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, we were discussing Advaita Acharya begging for the Lord. And Sri Kaviraj Goswami, he gives a reference to Advaita Acharya calling Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to earth. He's calling God to come and help the citizens of Navadvip. And Sri Kaviraj Goswami is giving a verse from the 3rd canto. And I'd like to read the purport of this. So if you can maybe pull it up, Srimad Bhagavatam 3.9.11. And we can read this together. So the reason why reading this is because in this way, this verse talks about how the Lord reciprocates with the devotees' desires. So last time, Srila Prabhupada in the Caitanya-caritāmṛta gives a translation and purport to this verse. Now we'll go and see what the Srimad Bhagavatam's, Prabhupada's translation and purport has to say of this. So 3.9.11. Yes. I'll read the translation. O my Lord, your devotees can see you through the ears by the process of bona fide hearing, and thus their hearts become cleansed, and you take your seat there. You are so merciful to your devotees that you manifest yourself in the particular eternal form of transcendence in which they always think of you. Does someone have a mic? Sandesh, you have the mic. Why don't you start reading the purport? Not working yet? Okay, I can start reading until we get to start working. The statement here that the Lord manifests himself before the devotee in the form in which the devotee likes to worship him indicates the Lord becomes subordinate to the desires of the devotee, so much so that he manifests his particular form as the devotee demands. The demands of the devotee is satisfied by the Lord because he's pliable. The Lord is pliable in terms of the transcendental loving service of the devotee. Why don't you continue?
This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4.11. Ye yathamam prapadyante tams tathaiva vajamyaham.
We just read this verse, right?
We should note, however, that the Lord is never the order supplier of the devotee. Here in this verse, it is particularly mentioned, Tvam Bhakti Yoga Paribhavita. This indicates the efficiency achieved through execution of mature devotional service, or prema, love of Godhead. This state of prema is achieved by the gradual process of development from faith to love. On faith, one associates with bona fide devotees, and by such association, one can become engaged in bona fide devotional service, which includes proper initiation and the execution of the primary devotional duties prescribed in the revealed scriptures. This is clearly indicated herein by the word Srutekshita. The Srutekshita path is to hear from bona fide devotees who are conversant with Vedic wisdom, free from mundane sentiment. By this bona fide hearing process, the neophyte devotee becomes cleansed of all material rubbish, and thus he becomes attached to one of the many transcendental forms of the Lord, as described in the Vedas.
So let's pass it on to Michael. Michael, read until you get to the word Swarup Siddhi.
This attachment of the devotee to a particular form of the Lord is due to natural inclination. Each and every living entity is originally attached to a particular type of transcendental service because he is eternally the servitor of the Lord. Lord Chaitanya says that the living entity is eternally a servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. Therefore, every living entity has a particular type of service relationship with the Lord eternally. This Particular attachment is invoked by practice of regulative devotional service to the Lord, and thus the devotee becomes attached to the eternal form of the Lord, exactly like one who is already eternally attached. This attachment for a particular form of the Lord is called Swarup Siddhi.
So this is, thank you very much for reading. This is Prabhupada is showing so many examples of if you everybody's very individual, and based on your hearing, and by performing, Prabhupada saying, the practice of regulative devotional service to the Lord. What is regulative devotional service to the Lord? Waking up for Mangalarati, chanting Hare Krishna, following the four regular principles. I heard from a class by His Holiness Devamrita Maharaj. Actually, following the four regular principles is not exactly devotional service, because we think it's such a hard thing to do, but it actually just brings you to the platform of being a human, being a manusya, being a gentleman. And from there, what actually is devotional service? Chanting your 16 rounds, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, etc. So by being regulated in that sense, then actually the Krishna can appear to you according to your desires, not some manufactured way of there's a religion it's kind of a, what is that term? It's like to make fun of religion. It's called Pastafarianism. Has anybody heard of this? This guy made up a religion, and they believe in, just to make fun of religion, he made a religion called Pastafarianism, which they believe in a flying spaghetti monster. and then they wanted to show how easy it is to make a religion according to the U.S. government, so he got it registered, non-profit, for charity, all these things. So he pays tax-free, and their philosophy is flying spaghetti monster. Not this type of religion. Krishna will never come. Even no matter how much bhav you have, Krishna will never come like this. So this is the religion must be bona fide, but through the Vedic scriptures. So as we're studying in the fourth canto, actually, when we're reading the Bhagavatam, we just finished all these different prayers, right? The different prayers of the different people. And they're praying to the Lord, these different personalities, the Lokapalas, the demigods, the different types of people. They're all praying to Vishnu with so much Aishwarya, so much awe and reverence. But we see here in Caitanya-caritāmṛta, it is saying that why is the understanding the majesty of God, why is it weakening love? This is the words of the Caitanya-caritāmṛta. It's saying understanding the majesty of Krishna and the opulence of Krishna, it weakens love. Why, we may ask why? Why is this weakening love? So when we see the majesty of the Lord, we expect some sort of reciprocity. We express some sort of I give you this, I give you respect, and you treat me as this. And like the common example Srila Prabhupada gives is a boss in a workforce, So if you're an employee, you respect your boss. Because if you don't respect your boss, what happens? Get fired. Even if you're doing your job perfectly. Many people say, oh, they can't fire me, I'm doing my job perfectly. But if you don't have respect for the boss, then you're still going to get, if you mouth off or if you talk bad about him or something like that. So, but when the boss comes home, what happens? He's playing with his children. Prabhupada says he's acting like horse for his children. He put his children on his back. And then if you as an employee try to get on the back of your boss, maybe trouble. So the boss invites you home, and then you just see you see the kids are playing with him. The wife is yelling at him, and you just see God at home. If you go on Vraj Mandal Parikrama and you see the different places. Anybody been on Vraj Mandal Parikrama? Wow, so nice, right? So they go on 30 days during Kartik, and they see. And I was just listening to some of those lectures, and there's a place in Vraj where the Char Dhams, the four important dhams come. So there's like Badrinath and all these places come and they manifest themselves in Braj. And so there's a story where the Dhams actually, they said, we want Vrindavan in Badrinath. Badrinath is in Vrindavan. And then, so the Dhams requested Krishna, can we have Vrindavan? He said, you can have any Dham in your Dham. But Vrindavan is not Dham, it's my home. This is my house, you know. So this is boss in the workforce. There's Aishwarya, there's Gyan, there's respect. But when he's at home, he hardly gets any respect. And so this is the type of love that we're actually aiming for. We learn from the famous verse. How's it go? Rudantam muhurnetra yugmam brijantam karam bhoja yugmena satanka netram muhu swasakam patrirekanka kantha stita graivam damodaram bhakti bhadam. This Damodarashtakam verse 2, it says that how is the Lord bound? He's saying he's running very, very fast from Yashoda. He is in fear. Tears are rolling down his eyes. His shark-shaped earrings are swinging to and fro, and it's not, his belly is not bound by ropes. It is Sita Gravam Damodaram Bhakti Bhaddam. He is bound by bhakti alone. So this bhakti is actually real bhakti. This bhakti is called, as the Caitanya-caritāmṛta, is called Raga Nuga Bhakti. And I like to quote a lecture by Srila Prabhupada in November 1972. And it's very interesting. So Srila Prabhupada is saying, real bhakti is Raga Nuga Bhakti. This Raga Nuga Bhakti, we have to come after surpassing the Vaidhi Bhakti. In the material world, if we do not try to make further and further progress in devotional service, if we are simply sticking to the Shastric regulation process and do not try to go beyond that. And Prabhupada is quoting this famous verse from 11th canto, Archayam Eva Haraye, this Kanishta Madhyam Uttam verse. And Prabhupada continues, the Shastric process is Kanishta Adhikar, the lowest stage of devotional service. This is nice beginning, but one has to go above this. If I become satisfied with these regular principles for worshipping, but I have no other idea, then sa bhakta prakrita smrita. Prakrita means on the material platform. Any devotee can fall down if he remains prakrita bhakta. So he has to raise himself above this in the madhyama adhikar. Therefore, if we do not associate with the advanced devotees, uttam adhikaris, if we simply want to remain in the lowest stage of devotional service, then we are not making progress. Then we shall simply enjoy the material field without entering into the spiritual platform. So before I continue further, I wanted to bring up a famous phrase by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. When they opened the temple at Bagh Bazar, this mantra was famously chanted, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was very happy. He says, Pujala Ragapata Gaurava Bange Mattala Harijana Vishaya Range. This path of rag is, the translation is, it is above our heads. It is worshipable to us. We respect it, and we don't prematurely approach it without any depth. And to do this, Shrutakirti Prabhu just recently, Archita Prabhu was in Vrindavan, and was the 50th anniversary of Krishna Balaram Temple. And Shrutakirti Prabhu was mentioning the most, when was the happiest you saw Prabhupada, and when was the angriest you saw Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada and Shrutakirti Prabhu said, the happiest I saw Srila Prabhupada was the opening of the Krishna Balaram Mandir. He was the most happy when he saw that. But when was he the angriest? When the Gopi Bhava Club was discovered. And I would just like to read from this. I never knew, I always heard about the Gopi Bhava Club, but I never knew the details. And I'm reading from the Transcendental Diary of Hari Sori. And I want to just read just straight from the source, and it gives you a good indication of what it was. And I think it's very nice. So this is 1976, June 5th, 1976. Prabhupada had just sat down in the middle of the room for breakfast when Pradyumna came in. Obviously quite disturbed, Prabhupada allowed him to come up to his small table, already set out with silver thalis of cut fruits, puffed rice, and cashews. Pradyumna began to complain about the study group Radha Ballabha mentioned yesterday. He told Prabhupada one devotee was reported to have said that the Gita was too bodily conscious and external, and that he became inspired only by reading about Krishna's confidential internal dealings, especially those of the gopis in the Caitanya-caritāmṛta. Prabhupada was so disturbed by this news that the piece of fruit he had held in his hand never made it to his mouth. Abandoning breakfast, he came back into his darshan room and called for all GBC men and sannyasis, as well as for several members of the study group. He demanded to know who was involved. Hridayananda Maharaj told him that the head of this men's group was Puranjan Das, the manager of the Spanish BBT operations. He was immediately sent for, as was Sulochan, a brahmachari I had gotten to know in Mayapur during the festival. I'm skipping ahead a little bit. Yes. He was quoting parts of Caitanya-caritāmṛta without, it seemed to me, understanding them, and had many misinterpretations of the text. He had cited some verses which he was interpreted to say that in each relationship with the Lord, there is something lacking which is found only in the next rasa. He indicated that actually considered paternal affection inferior to the Gopi Baba platform, because Lord Chaitanya said that there's no higher way to serve Krishna than in the mood of the gopis. They were therefore concentrating on the gopis' lives very closely, for they exhibited the highest and most pleasing way to serve Krishna. As I related the incident, Srila Prabhupada's anger flared. Just see, he declared disgustingly, Mother Yashoda is less than the gopis. This is their thinking, and they want Siddha Deha. Prabhupada was furious that such things could develop within ISKCON. So it's almost laughable at this point. And there's just one other section that I wanted to read, and this continues. And Prabhupada is just, he's warning us a lot of this. And you can see Prabhupada's anger, because this anger goes on for days. And this is June 7th now. Tamal Krishna Maharaj brought up another item from the newsletter. There's another statement. I saw them from where it says, it's a quote, that you can treat Krishna as your lover and Krishna will reciprocate. And they underlined the two words, you can treat Krishna as your lover. I added, in this way, they're taking your quotes out of context. This is one of the main ideas in their philosophy, that the living entity can desire to have any relationship he wants with Krishna. Prabhupada, that's all right. He can desire. I've already explained, first deserve, then desire. You are a rascal. How can you desire? You have no qualification. You desire to be high court judge. What is this nonsense? Rameshwar was keen to get Prabhupada's response. And so he said, this is how you become a sahajiya. And yes, Prabhupada said, we are restricting. No illicit sex. They will put that. Here is illicit sex between gopis and Krishna. So it is okay for me to also have illicit sex. So this is a danger. And so this is also very, very key, he said, about this. Srila Prabhupada, some devotees sometimes feel that in ISKCON, we're talking so much about the business of how to spread Krishna consciousness that we're not talking enough about Krishna's pastimes, Krishna Katha, they say. So that's another reason why they want to read all these pastimes. Then let them read, Prabhupada said, but why they're making pregnant and abortion? What kind of Krishna Katha? The Krishna Katha test is as soon as he'll get taste, he'll lose his taste. What is this nonsense? So this is in reference to Prabhupada is saying, okay, you want to get taste, but devotees are having trouble even following the four regulative principles. What to speak about higher subject matters? Again, he spoke from his own experience. Theirs is not a new criticism. He already had experience of this kind of mentality. In 1935, our Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, went to Radhakund for Kartik Vrata. So at that time, he was reading Upanishads. So first of all, these Babajis were coming. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had come at Radhakund. He's giving some class, so they used to come. But as soon as they saw that he was reading Upanishads, they stopped coming. They said, he's a jnani. They are not bhaktas. What did they want to hear? Tamal Krishna asked. Dasham Skanda, 10th canto, like that. So Prabhupada condemned them that they are not living in Radhakund. They are living in Narakund, hell. I heard it. They're living in Narakund. So our men, who go to Radhakund and live there, Tamal ventured, yes. So why I brought this up is because how much careful the devotees should be, especially when we go about the next few weeks and reading this topic, is that we hold this topic such in high reverence and we approach it with great respect and through the medium of our own spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. So with that being said, there's two, as Rupa Goswami himself mentions in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there's two types of sadhana bhaktis. There's Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, and then there is Raga Nuga sadhana bhakti. This may be kind of confusing because Prabhupada's saying in some references, he's saying that Aishvarya Gyan actually weakens bhakti. But then he says that in one sense he's saying rules and you have to follow the rules and regulations, and you can't have Raganuga bhakti without qualification. Then he's saying on the other side that Vaidhi bhakti leads to Vaikuntha. It doesn't lead to Krishna Loka. So how do you understand these two kind of seemingly juxtaposing sides? Now I'm quoting from Srila Prabhupada in Canto 3, Chapter 5, Text 4. You don't have to pull it up, but you can hear. The bhakti process, as performed under the regular principles of Vaidhi bhakti, or devotional service, following the prescribed rules and regulations, is defined by the revealed scriptures and confirmed by the great acharyas. This practice can help the neophyte devotee to rise to the stage of Raga Bhakti, in which the Lord responds from within as Chaitya Guru, or the spiritual master, or super consciousness. So, just when we're getting started in devotional service, when we're on the neophyte platform, just to get started, we must actually follow the rules and regulations, and when we follow this, natural, spontaneous devotional service will arise. And Prabhupada uses this word, this specific word, very much when he's describing this process. He says, automatically. Automatically, by the process of Krishna consciousness and by the mercy of the Guru. Like many people, when they come to the temple, they say, oh, Guru Puja, it seems, Prabhupada's Guru, it seems like an institutional thing. But then on a basic level, it's like, okay, we all have to come to Guru Puja. But on the higher level, you can see on a platform of loving Krishna, you offer your homage to the spiritual master. This is Acharya Upasana. This is one of the 64 limbs of devotional service, by respecting the spiritual master. So you can see that whatever looks mundane, it's not that you have to do anything separate. It's just going deeper into your process. It's not that the people who are performing these Raganuga Bhakti have to give up the process of Vaidhi Bhakti. That they may be following the Vaidhi Bhakti exactly the same, but their consciousness is just on such a deeper level that they're finding a spontaneous relationship with Krishna, and they're in consultation with the spiritual master. So I like to just end. I know we've talked about some kind of some interesting things, and hopefully the next few classes will be more. So this is Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. After he writes a letter in the Harmonist, explaining these situations, that the Radhakund Babaji's left, and nobody was hearing, and he says Narakund. And so this is Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, April 20th, 1926. in Shuddha O Vidha Bhakti. The songs of Rai Kanu's dealings with each other, rasa, is the greatest secret of all secrets. If those who are lascivious as ourselves go to sing or describe them in markets and bazaars, ghatas, roads, and fields to each and everyone, won't it bring nothing to the world but unwanted rubbish? Whatever worship we boast of while our perception of external world is still strong as anything is useless. Have I acquired a drop of anurag for Bhagavan, genuine desire to give pleasure to his senses? This question we should ask our inner self at least once and without deceit. Then everything will become clear. By that, it is not intended to say that we are giving up bhajana kriya for good. It is intended to say that one should follow the gradual path of progress according to one's adhikar. So, and Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur goes on to say, those who have chanted Harinam for 15 or 20 years should know such things. The beginners need not hear such topics, or they will misunderstand. These topics are for certain audiences, not for all. Also it is said, apana bhajana katha na kahibe jata jata. One should not reveal one bhajan to others. If we disregard this instruction of our previous acharyas, then there may be a permanent fall from the realm of devotional service. Now, this is very interesting because this is what Srila Prabhupada is saying. Follow the pathway by devotional service. Like many people, especially in India, when they have Bhagavad Gita, they go immediately to 10th canto. But first canto, second canto, I'm just meditating on before Lord Nishingadev's appearance day. So amazing. Shukadeva Goswami gives 10 chapters to Prahlad Maharaj. And how much the gopis, the most confidential portion of the Bhagavatam, the Rasa Panchadhyay, has 5 chapters. So Shukadeva Goswami is saying how much important it is for us to actually inculcate the mood of Prahlad Maharaj. It's 10 chapters versus 5 chapters. Basically, the whole 7th canto is all about Prahlad Maharaj. So this is very important to understand very clearly according to our previous acharyas. And if we take these things very seriously, then actually we get the benefit of these higher topics, and we can actually go into a not stay on the Prakrita platform, the beginning platform. We can actually excel. So I have more to say, but I'll just pause there. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or corrections? I would like to hear from Archita Prabhu has to say anything first because he gave the class last week and maybe he can expand on something or correct me if I've said anything against. Oh, the mic. Oh, it's boy. Mic to you. I'm fully following the Pujala Ragapada Gaurava Bhange, Matala Harijana Vishwajarange. So I have no realization of this topic, and if you give me a stumper, then I'm protected. I feel very comfortable. I feel protected because there's so many nice senior devotees who can answer the question.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for the wonderful class, Prabhu. So my question is, like at the last you mentioned about that we should not reveal our bhajan to others, but it's like a quick question of like, but when we are chanting, we are actually revealing our, when we are chanting, others can listen to our chanting of holy name, and so is that a way in which we are revealing a bhajan, or is it like different, or if that is so, then how should we?
You're talking like during japa in the morning.
Yeah.
So when we're chanting japa, others can reveal bhajan. In that sense, a lot of us are externally, we may be doing something, like for example, Rupa Goswami is chanting the same Mahamantra as us. But what is going inside Rupa Goswami, what is his meditation on the Mahamantra and what is ours? The senior devotees are chanting Hare Krishna 40, 50 years. And when first some person comes into the temple, we give them japa, they're chanting the same Mahamantra. But one's practice is deeper because of maturation and so many things. So to answer your question, I don't think it reveals one bhajan if someone hears, like we go on Harinam. It's not like I'm revealing my bhajan to anybody in Union Square when we do kirtan. So yeah, I don't think so, but that's what I understand. Hare Krishna.
Sometimes, like when senior devotees share their realizations, like Prabhupada shared his realization and throughout his books. So is it also like because he revealed his realization, so is it like he's revealing his bhajan or his prayers?
His question is, when Prabhupada is giving his realization in the books, then is that kind of revealing one's bhajan? And you can say yes and no. We always knew Prabhupada had a personal mood, but this is the mercy of the Acharya. The mercy of the Acharya, he gives his, he sees what the people need, and he gives it according to time, desha kala patra, time, place, and circumstance, according to his own and what he has received from his spiritual master. Does that make sense? Anybody else? Janmashtami Prabhu?
This is an unusual comment, but I have a good friend, Dravida Prabhu, and he's been on the editing team of the BBT since the very beginning, and he used to digitalize Prabhupada's recordings, and he was in the Gopi Bhav Club, but he survived. He's the only one. So it's actually, it's offensive, to intrude into these pastimes like it's an ego trip, basically. You see that a lot in Vrindavan, and there were a lot of devotees that went out of the movement with Narayan Maharaj, and that was crazy, I mean, when I was Sankirtan leader here in 1989, there was a Bhaktin that was, she was a pretty good Sankirtan devotee, but she was very neophyte. A couple of years later, she was in Vrindavan distributing this Vasikic literature, and just really ruined. You never see her again. They just demolishes their bhakti. This false. It's an egoistic trip.
Archita Prabhu has one.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for your carefully researched, nicely presented class. To the point, because the point was the internal reasons for Lord Chaitanya's appearance and how Krishna is saying that devotional service that's adulterated with this mood of Aishwarya doesn't bring him under control. So it may beg the question, should we want to control Krishna? Should we want to control Krishna? Some people prematurely put themselves on that platform. Like, especially, if you go to India, there's some people who worship Krishna like their child, supposedly, telling him, sit down, don't do this, don't do that. And, it seems to be on this level of spontaneous bhakti, but it's not. It's just an imitation. They've never been properly trained. They're not attached to any particular sampradaya, which is a giveaway right there. Who's your guru? Who's your guru's guru? These are the questions you ask when you meet people who are telling you, that they're do this way, do that way. Who's your guru? Who did you learn from? Who did he learn? So going back to this point about the Gopi Baba Club, about the same time, Rameshwar made the statement in New Dwarka to the devotees that devotional service through book distribution is in the mood of the gopis.
Yeah.
And many devotees were saying, you're just making that up. So the letter was written to Prabhupada to ask him what is his opinion. And Prabhupada wrote back, yes. There's no book distribution in the spiritual world. How could this be in the mood of the gopis? But the mood of the gopis is to do whatever it takes to please Krishna. So our acharyas have said that if you want to please Krishna, spread this Krishna consciousness. That pleases Krishna most. And Prabhupada said the best way to do it is by distributing my books. So anybody who gets into this mood of distributing Prabhupada's books, is actually approaching at least the mood of the gopis. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. I just, a comment on that is like, we've heard, and Prabhu's comments, we've heard so many arguments against, and it's like, what is the mood of the gopis? It's to help each other become more Krishna conscious. So actually, and if we follow the mood of Lord Chaitanya, he's spreading the Sankirtan movement. And so that is actually, that's actually the way, by following Lord Chaitanya. There's a nice verse by Prabodhananda Saraswati that my Guru Maharaj likes to quote. Yatha yatha gaura padaravinda vindeta bhakti krita punya rashi. I'm forgetting the last two lines, but it basically says, by dasyam to Lord Chaitanya, by serving the mission of Lord Chaitanya, automatically you get into the madhurya rasa of attain the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. This is by Prabodhananda Saraswati. So by serving Lord Chaitanya with heart, soul, will, mind, words, and actually we automatically get the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. And just to add to yours, I treat Krishna as my actually, if you go on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, you see so many like nonsense things of I saw Krishna with a sports cap and a Starbucks coffee, and it's like and you see like so many like nonsense things, and Rupa Goswami says, Shruti Smriti Purana di Pancharatri ki vidhi menan ahaikanti hare bhakti utpadayan akalpate. That bhakti performed not with reference to Shrutis, Smritis, and Puranas only causes disturbance in society. And the test of that, as you mentioned, is that if you want to be on Rag Bhakti, Raganuga Bhakti, there should be no, not even a tinge of material desire. It is just spontaneous. As spontaneous, if someone give this term, what is spontaneously? It's just like how the devotees, spontaneously, if they're not care for their spiritual life, they go back into Maya. That's how spontaneously you should fall into Krishna. that is how spontaneous Raganuga Bhakti is. But we're spontaneously in love with Maya. We just have to be spontaneously in love with Krishna. And so that comes from, by following the Puranas, Shrutis, and by hearing all sections of Bhagavatam. This is also a very important point. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he says that every verse in Bhagavatam can be understood millions of ways. So and my Guru Maharaj said that any verse of Bhagavatam can give you prema. So if you just take it back to Krishna and you look at how is this going to give me love of Godhead? Every verse. If it's important enough for Shukadeva Goswami to hear in the last 7 days of his life, it's important for us to hear as well. So Gajendra, Prahlad, all these different pastimes should be taken very seriously. Lord Chaitanya, who is Sri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kidrishovana Yeva, he's here to give these mellows of Radharani and the mood of Radharani. He would hear Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruva Maharaj 100 times. Like, imagine reading Prahlad Maharaj 100 times and then going on to 7.10, 7.11, 7.12, 7.13. 100 times. That's how important it was to Lord Chaitanya. So, thank you, Prabhus, for those comments. So, Grantaraj Shri Caitanya-caritāmṛta ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.